Christians believed Indians to be a lost tribe of Jews. Catholic missionaries in the Spanish colonies, like their Protestant peers, felt compelled to address the lineage of Indians, which had consequences for Christians' relationships with Native America. Early Spanish invaders looked for resemblances between Indian cultures and Judaism, and commonalities between indigenous languages and Hebrew. As we know, Christopher Columbus brought Luis de Torres, a converso, with him as Hebrew interpreter to the people who he might meet on the other side of the world. By the 1560s, Spanish clerics were debating whether Indians were descendants of one of the lost tribes of Israel, or if perceived similarities to the Jews were products of a satanic manipulation intended to render them useless to the Christian God. Protestant colonialism brought equal enthusiasm for discovering the Jewish origins of Indians. In his mid-17th century description of New Netherland, the Dutch lawyer Adrian van der Donck admitted that the theological pressure. If Christians were unable to reconcile the existence of Native Americans with biblical narrative, then, quote, the doctrines of the Holy Scriptures would be subverted and ruined. Several years earlier, Dominee Johannes Megapolensis, whom the patroon Kilian van Rensselaer had brought to Rensselaerwyck to New Netherland to minister to the Rensselaerwyck colony in 1642, Megapolensis encountered an elderly Indian woman who was likely Mohawk and who repeated part of the Iroquois creation story, which included, in fact, the story of a divine feud between two brothers. Dominee Megapolensis took this as a variant of the story of Cain and Abel, and further evidence of the Jewish heritage of the Indians. The Puritan divine John Eliot explained his fascination with Native Americans as in part of a product of his hope to, quote, that I might find under what covenant and promise their forefathers lived. Eliot speculated that they were descended from Shem, or in other words, he incorporated it into the story of the curse of Ham, or the curse of Canaan. Other Puritan ministers pointed to a tendency to speak in parables as the link between Native Americans and European Jews. A critic of colonial Indian policy and a founder of Rhode Island, the Reverend Roger Williams, also saw parallels between Jewish and Indian cultures, including the anointing of heads and the exchange of dowries for wives. Rabbi Menashe ben Israel's treatise on the Jewish ancestry of American Indians validated this Christian obsession. The essay repeated the 1644 testimony of Aaron Levi to the Sephardic rabbis of Amsterdam. Levi said that he had encountered Indians in the Cordilleras Mountains of South America who revealed themselves to be Jews who knew the Torah and who traced their lineage to the tribe of Reuben.